over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. So, we need a contingency plan. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former pupil and assistant. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was the only one privy to all his magic secrets, and he inherited his craft. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. He's since left the magic scene, though, and these days, he's a wealthy businessman with his fingers in a lot of different pies. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned, though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered temper. We'd best be careful.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself...
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the...
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians.
Much obliged, sir. Yesterday morning, I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned.
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one...
Possibility? It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is the weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere. Look, if this affects your magic show in any way...
Oh, sir, my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo.
Your pride? Don't mince...
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk.
Uh-oh. This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know.
Another day,
Oh, come on. You can't be all business. All.
if I wanted your life advice, I'd...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the...
Oh, hey! This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Found... and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being...
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing...
Sorry, I may have...
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts?
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a
I think so too. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just... You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete fun.
So, he was serious about...
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of...
Don't even ask. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what you said to him, but clearly it touched a nerve. That's not a good sign. You're too young.
And there he goes. What do we do now, Lenny?
Shh. I think we're... Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourself?
So you're Lenny. And where's your sister? Save us the trouble and go fetch her.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going.
Looks like we can't avoid... Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry,
Step right up! I'm fine.
Terra Smash!
And voila! Let's get this show on the road!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Just sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already got... You're right. She was injured, but maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those...
Well, if that's the case, let's head back to the cafe and...
Gemma?
You again.
We just ran into the men who've been so you can...
What? Why?
Sounds like they're no
That's putting it mildly. I know them all. It's been 10 long years. And still, every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do... How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of...
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance.
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If possible, I'd like to take a look at them. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile...
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care...
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
Looks like no more free coffee for me.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking... There we go. It should be just down here.
So this was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Step right up. And voila!
Whoa. Look, the doll in the box is glowing.
Step right up.
There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look.
And voila!
These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
We're way behind schedule.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether... If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room somewhere. Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully... And... presto!
A secret passageway! How did you know?
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around. Step right up. Yeah! Now disappear!
Why have you stopped, Lenny? Is there some device in that box?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right, see you in a bit. Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh? principles of magic. Whew. Much too advanced for Paimon. Hey, look! Is that Caesar's diary on the table? This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull all sorts of things out of the hat. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around all over town, buying the things they wanted. Boy, are my legs sore. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now have a bigger problem. How am I going to hide all these things inside my hat? Two children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home safely. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never seen any of them as serious about it as these two. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. They seemed so committed. I couldn't turn them down. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately, but he won't open up to me about it. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and it seems like they're not new to the world of magic. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more professional standard training plan. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, I don't deserve to be called any sort of master. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. I fear they've had to grow up too fast. I don't dare to imagine what they must have been through. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me, but then again, I've never been the sharpest tool in the shed. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. It's only been 10 days since I first met. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they trust no one but each other. This, I fear, is not a good habit to have. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why they wanted to learn magic, they lied. That's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, it always shows somehow. I can sense that their lives have been hard, possibly even dangerous too. They're not like other children. It's a shame that I can't do more to help them. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of lies and falsehoods, and that is why we must find our own truth. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. Oh, Caesar.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar?
hold that thought.
Fishy?
All in good time. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now... Oh no!
Very vivid description. Paimon...
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what I could gather from his notes and the relevant gadgets here in his workshop.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides... At this point, the magician presses a button. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of there's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong?
I can make a pretty good... I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right...
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. But a magician needs to be able to reach... The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the... And so, Caesar trained himself to use his... But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden... But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to... Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed... Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing... With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to murder him! able to make the switch without being noticed. That would be difficult to pull.
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props. Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. Silencing you the hard way just creates more problems for me to deal with. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you.
You mean Gemma? So
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability, but which is why you can't leave the...
Step right up. And voila!
Oh, you kids are tougher than you look.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't. I think it's high time you started talking.
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you... He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic.
So it was.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. All he cared about was his magic. He lived and breathed it. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their life to the art of deception? But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No, amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own brand of money-making magic, he would expose. I had to kill him.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance...
In love with Gemma, don't be...
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was... so strict. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of...
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I've only ever targeted high-value items. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft.
So, that's the story, huh?
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10...
Very well. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo.
Lily has told me the whole story.